continue my thought. So what I was trying to say before we like caught a bad reception or whatever is in the mid to late '90s when all the Bloods and Crips started to hit the streets in New York, a lot of people were striving to do that, right? Like, and people were like, yo, I want to be a part of that, right? Because it was like the buzz worthy thing or like the hot thing to do. It was popular and it had the buzz and all the rappers was talking about it, much like they was all talking about Zulu in the early '90s.
Right, right,
A lot of people will be like, "Oh, I want to get down with that," and people Zulu's like, "No, you ain't going nowhere." Or right, we would drop a dude, we tell a dude like, "Yo, you can't be extorting Zulus. Like, we don't do that extortion type shit. You can't be robbing dudes and disrespecting the sisters." And dudes would be like, "Well, I'll just drop and become Crip then." And now, boom, now we at war with. Once he turned Crip, now we fighting them in the Bronx. Specifically, I think there was a dude that did that used to be aliens. You know what I'm saying? He did that, and then boom, it
right.
was a situation. Same thing. Just a lot of different dudes will have a problem within Zulu. A brother named Raheem, he left Zulu. He became Latin King Stern in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? So it was like whoever had a problem internally within Zulu left and became another gang to spite Zulu and say, now I'm gonna
Mm,
rise up and be something in this organization. And they wound up being big time leaders, and ultimately all of us having beef or whatever animosity. It's not beef until they get physical or violent.
right,
You know what
right,
I'm
right,
saying?
right.
But that's why a lot of us were like leery of being associated with anybody that was affiliated with anything else. And it's too much politics, you know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, yeah, we could be whatever, like, brothers could be whatever, but like in New York, it's just Zulu and 5%. You be Zulu and Muslim. Zulu and low life, that's completely fine. Zulu and Decepticon, that's fine to me too, if anyone was going to do that. Zulu and Lost Boy, that would be fine. You know what I'm saying? These are hip hop organizations to a degree.
Yeah, me and Mark Love uh was on that with P, but he I don't know if he ever fully came into the faction, and we was also on that with Brother Ali, like bringing some of these uh um older or more conscious or more roots hip hop artists into the tribe. You know what I'm saying? We brought Brother Ali into Zulu Nation. We brought like I said, there was talks with Sean P. I don't know if he ever really rocked with it or not, because I know he was Decept. That was my boy. So you know, I don't know, man. I know just like I said, it wasn't something that was a choice for me. It's just something that I grew into. It
No
was,
doubt.
you know, especially wasn't a choice to me because, like, I remember Sapphire meeting me at Guadalinda's and seeing my locks hanging long, and she was like, "Yo, you a Rastafarian?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "I never met a white Rasta." And I was like, "You
Mm.
from New York? You from New York City, and you never met a white Rasta?" Like
I
that was
have
crazy
plenty.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have.
but that was her thing, and I think that's a thing with a lot of people. Like they be like, "Oh, you GD, but you not black." You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot like that they don't know. I mean, Jelly Roll's a GD. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
From Memphis. You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't even
Like
know that.
there's a lot of people, out there, and they may be Mexican, Puerto Rican, whatever, that are from different tribes, street organizations, whatever you want to call them. You know what I'm saying? That, it's just those are my folks. That's who I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? That's who I
Yeah.
ride for. That's who ride for me. Like if I got to
Right.
make a phone call, you know what I mean? I'm probably not going to call a Zulu. You know what I'm saying? If I really, but at the same time, I've got brothers who are hardcore Crips, bro. Like not too much Bloods, but I've got a few who are hardcore Crips who like became friends with me, came over to my house, and they see all this shit, and they were like, "What's this? What's Calafia Zulus?" And I start breaking down Zulu. This was before 2016. You know what I mean? I start breaking down Zulu Nation and the lessons and Calafia Zulus and all that, and they like, "Yo, I want to be a Calafia Zulu." Like they
Mm.
ask, "Can I get
Mm.
down?" And these are brothers who are Crips. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
they're older men now. They not gang banging, and they Zulu. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They
Right.
still from their hood, but they,
Right. Right.
but they
Right.
Zulu.
No, I
I got
You know?
respect that.
Daquan. I got Daquan, and Daquan's not actively banging Crip, but he's still
Right.
he's Zulu. You know what I'm saying? But he's
Yeah.
not.
Right.
He's not. He's not shunning his people's. You know what I'm saying? His brother. You know what I mean? Also, I went to high school in Atlanta, and my best friend at the time was white, and his whole family, white people, white lady, she was GD. You know what I'm saying? The father, the white lady, all her kids. And I'm like, what? This is like 15. And I'm like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? And they were about their business. And this is Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't know about GD in California, but you know what I'm saying? I do now. You know what I mean?
I mean, like I said, it's not something I like to talk about too much or brag about because I don't feel it's something to brag about, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, you know, it used to be, from my understanding, like the biggest in all the United States. And then 18th Street got bigger. And then Mara Salvatrucha got bigger than 18th Street. So after MS-13 and 18th Street is Gangsta Disciples, which would still be it would still be considered like the largest black gang. You know what I mean, in the United States.
It gotta be.
You know what I'm saying?
Be. Definitely
So
gotta be.
you know, it's kind of like how you talked about you know, being Zulu or being down with Zulu and the certain things, like you couldn't be nothing else and you had to go about it a certain way, like we call it like dropping your flag, right? Like the dude dropped his flag and he decided he was going to be blood or he was going to be Crip. Like that, this Crips and blood shit started over here. Like, you don't drop your flag, bro. Like, you can't drop your flag. Like, especially in the Cholo gangs and the Crips and Bloods, like in the 80s and 90s, like you try to get out, there's only one way out. You know what I mean? So that's out. You out. You know what I'm saying? Like you going out of life. You're not going out of the gang. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the way we grew up. So like there was never no dropping my flag. Like I'm gonna always be GD, but I'm a grown ass man. I live in the jungles. I live in the Peace Stones. I respect them. I honor their history, their knowledge, just like I honor Gangsta Disciple. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my folks will hear me say this and don't agree with me because I say that. But I'm friends with all of them. I feed the homeless with them. I work with them. They all know who I am. They be like, "What's up, blood?" I ain't tripping. But when they be like, "What's up, five?" I be like, "Stop calling me five, bro. You know I'm not a five." You know what I mean? Like, but like at the end of the day, my homies be like, "Oh, how you live over there with the ops?" Bro, I'm a grown ass man with children, with a wife and 2 dogs, bro. Like I don't have any ops. Like what is that, bro? Like what would I need to have ops for? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, if somebody got a problem, I'm not scary at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? But like I'm not out there actively like making enemies or holding grudges or you know any of that shit. I didn't come over here and move into their neighborhood and be like, "Oh, I'm Big GD," and cross they shit out and draw 6-point stars in the alley. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? That's not the get down. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not how I get down. You know? So
Definitely. No, I respect it, King, for real.
yeah.
I wanted to ask you, when we right before we organized the Zulu Union, we were in a state of turmoil and chaos. 2016, the news came out about Africa Bambaataa. All the allegations started to surface. The Bee Stinger book, Hassan Poppy Campbell's story started to go viral. Um, you're one of the first brothers that I would say that openly spoke out against not necessarily against Bambaataa, but what was taking place and letting people know that the Zulus stand to protect the youth. And I thought it was a very honorable and bold move because a lot of people were very quiet in New York City, and I'm gonna be real. And I don't think it was people were quiet out of fear. People were confused. I think there were a lot of people trying to figure out what we should do and what is the right way to go about it, because for many of us this is like we play for keeps. This is life or death. A lot of people been Zulu for a long time. um you did a very bold move by making that video, and you kind of set the tone that kind of vibrated to the rest of the Zulus worldwide, and kind of put us on a path to reorganize. I don't know if you realize
Right.
that, but it
A lot
definitely
of people
did.
say I was the first one to speak out. I don't know if that sister with the letter spoke out before me. Some people say I dropped a Sucker Free Zulu video before that. But I don't think she was necessarily Zulu, but she was Hip Hop Congress and stuff like that. She was known, you know.
Yeah, I know what you're
And
talking
I
about.
forget the sister. Yeah, I forget the sister's name.
Yeah.
Um, but basically, remember we were having all those conference calls and we were trying to figure out what the fuck we gonna do. Like, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Because shit was fucked up. And we was like, no, this is ours. We not letting no pedophile have it. And then we found out he owned it and all this other stuff. And we was trying to figure out what to do. And we were having all those conference calls. And I don't know if you remember the conference call we was on for like about 2 hours. And we found out that Bambaataa was on the call listening the whole time. I don't know if you remember that call that we were on, but
I don't remember that one. I don't think I was on that call. The
you,
one that was leaked. I don't
I
know.
think you was on there, but I'm not sure. But
Mm.
but everybody was on there. Like Mad Heads was on there. You know what I mean? It was Mad Heads on there. You know what I'm saying?
We
Rush was
had so
on there.
many.
Like
Yeah, we had so
yeah,
many
yeah,
that I
yeah.
can't. You know.
And
You probably,
there was heads from all around. Ada was on there.
yeah,
That
you
was
probably
I believe the day. I believe that was the call that said whatever he said about standing up for Bambaataa, and they ain't gonna say that about him or whatever. That's not true, whatever. And that was when it said no. Uh, that shit's real. That shit happened to me for
Okay, I
real.
was
And
on that
brothers
call then.
and brother and brothers started
Mhm.
crying, right?
Right.
this is what
So
Yeah.
there.
I was late to the studio to record for my man Warbucks album, Bucks of Burn. I was late to the studio to record because I was on that call. I was sitting in front of the studio on that conference call. And when I got off the call, I went into the studio to record my verse for his album. And him and some other people were recording their verses. And I had this beat that I had been writing to, or that I had been given to write to a song to. And while they were recording their verses, bro, like I had just got out of that call where brothers was crying and we was feeling so much, like you said, so much turmoil, and that shit just poured out of me. This is
All
Sucker
right.
Free. This is no jive. Like I just wrote that shit. I wrote that shit while they was recording their shit. Like I wrote that shit in like 10 minutes, all 3 verses or all 2 verses, or however long it was. I think it's 3 verses, right?
Mhm.
I wrote that shit, and then when everybody was done recording, I told my man to rush because we was recording to his beat, and the beat that I wrote Sucker Free Zulu to was his. If you see me walking on the bridge, I'm walking with Bucks of Burn and a Rush. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? When the video starts, like a
Okay.
Rush is the one who made the beat. I told a Rush, can I record this song right now while we in the studio? Like, is there time? Like, do we pay for enough for me to record? And like, I didn't. It was so much fire in us at that time. We was feeling so upset that not only did the song pour out of me, but I rocked that shit in one take. So I didn't have
Mm.
to like go back and re-record verses or punch in or do nothing. Like I rocked that shit in one take. And like I rocked it. And it's a brother out here, peace to the brother. He used to be very involved in the Temple of Hip Hop. His name is Caddy One.
Mhm.
Um, there's been some things that have gone on with Chris or KRS or whatever that Caddy One no longer rocks with the Temple of Hip Hop, but he's a good brother here from the West Coast and from LA. And Caddy One heard the song, and I don't know who played it for him, whatever. And he called me and he was like, "Yo, I want to shoot a video for this." Like
Mm.
he's like this needs to be out there. You know what I'm saying? And so I just called all the homies, bro. Like I called all the Calafia Zulus and all the homies. I was like, you know, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this as like all of us. We all got kids. Anybody who ain't down with the shit and you hip hop, come to the video shoot. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And you see me walking with the all the people, you know what I'm saying? Like that's
Mhm.
just everybody who was like, you know, Nico and them came up from San Diego. You see
Yeah.
them in the
Peace to
video,
Zulu
like,
King Nico. Yeah, I seen the brother.
yeah, you
Brothers
know what I'm
had to
saying?
protect the youth on the back of the vest and all of that. Like, yeah, that was
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I made those vests for him, those Gestapo vests. You know, I rock with the G's, but like I don't really like I'm a LA Zulu. I'm a Calafia Zulu. You
No
know,
doubt.
I'm down with chapter 2-5. I'm down with 16. I'm down with these certain chapters. I'm down with Gestapo's. They made me a G, whatever. I'm down with them. You know what I'm saying? But that's not my foundation. I'ma always show love and respect. Like I stay out of the politics. You know what I mean? That's not for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
It's best to stay out of the politics. You know, I think when we first organized the Zulu Union, I was so gun ho with striving to put out this message that we drew a line in the sand, and that Zulus were not on that type of time that Bam was being accused of, and I wanted the distinction between us. And the thing that gets me is like it caused like a big divide amongst brothers and sisters that had a genuine love for one another. And who are we to say what a brother should, who you should love and who you should support. At the end of the day, if you wanted to stay UZN, stay UZN. If you want to be Zulu Union, be Zulu Union. You know what I'm saying? So I think we could have approached things differently, but everything happened the way it happened. Like I think there's like a people think like, oh, the Zulu Union is the enemy of the Universal Zulu Nation. It's not. We come from the
Nah,
Universal
nah.
Zulu Nation. It's just that we didn't want to be
Exactly.
connected to Bambaataa based on what took place. So it's as simple as that.
It's
People
like
make it
Ruckus.
bigger than what
It's
it
like
is.
Ruckus, rest in peace. It's
Right,
like Ruckus, rest in peace. They
right, right,
wanted to
right,
continue rocking Zulu Nation.
right,
Okay, you still my brothers and sisters, but I
right,
can't rock with you. You know what I mean? I
right,
rock with you as like individuals, you my homie, but I can't rock with you if you rocking Zulu Nation. We're not rocking with that no more. You know what I mean? So
right.
we're not on the same team right now, but that doesn't mean that we have to be enemies, like you said.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know what I
let's
mean?
respect one
So
another's let's respect one another's views and your stance. Like some people just like, yo, I'm not down with Bam, but I'm gonna be UZN forever. You know what I'm saying? Or
and I
whatever. Some
understand
people
that.
I understand it too, and I respect it. I
And
just
some
personally
motherfuckers
don't
is
agree
so
with
deep.
it.
Like I think me and you have had crazy talks with Muhammad. You know what I mean? We had to talk with him and Yoda at Danny's funeral. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
certain people they've been down with that since day one. They're not switching up,
Right, right. I
regardless. You know what
understand
I'm
that.
saying?
Right, 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 right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yoda
You
told
know.
me at Danny's, funeral. Why, but why y'all chose the Zulu name? I'm like, yo, because we've been Zulu for 20 years. Like, how you gonna tell us that we can't use the name that like it's tattooed on my arm? Like, I'm not gonna cut my
Right,
tattoo
right.
out my arm. I'm not gonna cover it. Like, we're Zulu. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? At the
Calafia
end,
Zulus with that Ankh logo is tattooed on my arm too. You
right.
know what I mean? It says Calafia
So it's
Zulus with
like,
that logo.
where
You
do we
know.
go? We Zulu. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like we just try to inherit it or jack the name. We were true and living Zulus.
This is our
Um,
thing. This is ours. Like you can't take it from us. Like
right,
that's more the vibe is like, they on some like why y'all want to keep rocking this, but it's like we not keeping anything. This is who we are.
right,
Like we not finna let you have this. You know what I mean?
right.
So,
Or say that we can't have it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We just
exactly. Yeah,
want,
yeah.
like, yo, listen, if you revered us when we were a part of the UZN, then why now you look at us any differently? When we was doing all the work
Right,
in y'all name, y'all loved us, right? Now it's like, oh,
right,
now you
right.
looking at us sideways. Brothers have made comments. The Zulu Union is a bunch of white boy and Latino Zulus. Like, meanwhile, most of my chapters black. You know what I'm saying? Like most of the chapters be
Mhm.
having black American brothers and Afro Caribbean brothers. So I don't get like the comments and all, but that's all old. You know what I'm saying? I see brothers, I see elders from the Zulu Nation. I shake their hand, I say peace. And that's it. It's not much more
Yeah.
than that. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
I got a call one day on my phone and I was like, what the fuck is this? Because it had been years, bro. And I got a
Hmm.
call, my phone rang and it said, and I was
Hmm.
like, what? Am I even gonna answer this? Right. So I answered it.
Hmm.
I was like, peace. He was like, peace, King. How you doing? I was like, I'm good. How are you? He was like, look, I'm good. He said, look, my son is working with some people he met off and he about to like send them to some stuff. He's like, I told him, no, you're not sending strangers money, and you're never gonna see your money. You're never gonna see it. If you want to on the West Coast, I got some on the West Coast I could plug you with. I'm sure they could get you right. You know what I mean? And these are people that I know and could trust. And I was like,
Right, right,
yeah.
right.
His son with and they probably been doing things ever since. I don't know. It's none of my business. I didn't want to, but it's like
Hmm.
that. It didn't have anything to do with Zulu. I don't hold
Right,
nothing against him. If he
right,
knew, he
right,
knew. If he didn't, he didn't. It's not my thing. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the
right,
day, he called me. He needed some help in that area. I was able to help his son and not get in that way. He didn't get by some people for. So
right,
I
right.
look at it like that. It's like whoever we rocking with. It's like when I put that video out. You know what I mean? I played it back. Said it sounded like remember.
Hmm.
But we don't know who it was. But somebody called me and left a message saying some crazy shit, and then they called me and I picked up the phone, and I'll never forget what they said. They said, seen the video, you should take that shit down. Don't underestimate the hand of and get yourself hurt. And it just so happened that one of my brothers from Zulu, his wife is got some issues, and he was like, "Yo, King, can I bring this over to your house? I'm afraid, like, my wife, I don't want to go to work and leave in the house with my kids and my wife because she's going through some mental. She's off her meds. You know what I mean?" And I
Mhm.
was like, "All right, cool." It happened to be a lot on my floor, like on the floor that he had just brought in the house that day. I only kept them for 2 days, came and picked them up, you know what I mean? But he was like, "Can you hold this?" Right. You know, I gotta go to work and she's kind of tripping. Let me wait till she get right. And I don't know if I feel like I would have been the same, but I was definitely on a good one right then because he said, "Don't underestimate that and get yourself hurt." And I looked down at all this and I laughed. And I was like, "Look, I'm at 52 Avenue, Long California. Come through and you could get it live, just like the video said. Let me tell you one more again. I'm at
Mhm.
52 Avenue, Long Beach, California. Come and get it live." And hung up on him.
Mhm.
I never heard nothing again. And they never said nothing
Mhm.
to me. You know what I mean? So I just feel like you got to stand your ground with these motherfuckers, whether it be Zulu or anybody else. If you're
Right, of
about something
course.
and you're going to represent something, you got to represent it to the fullest. The ones who
Yeah.
represented it wishy-washy, you know, whether it be Bee Sting or anyone else, recanting shit, you know, the ones who wasn't on their square on, or we say in GD they wasn't on their six. Somebody upper handed them. You know what I mean? Nobody's coming to upper hand me. I'm a grown ass man. You
I
know.
feel you.
So
I don't
yeah,
underestimate anyone's influence and power, particularly he's very influential, very powerful, I think.
of
I
course.
think he could probably have anybody twisted if he wanted to. I don't think he's worried
Right,
about
right,
us or concerned about us. I think he's probably more
right.
proud of us than most people would think because we're still carrying the name despite all the turbulence and all the chaos. Um, but
Yeah, I mean,
that's my
like I
thought.
said, I
I don't
was real,
know,
and
you
that's
know.
no disrespect or his power. Like I said, I was real ballsy just because it was a lot of guns on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
I
I
just
get
happened to
it.
be on a good one that day.
I I
But
get it, bro. I
like,
get
you
it.
know, I don't want nobody to see this and think I'm disrespectful. I think I'm big badass. You know what I mean? Like by any means, anybody could get it, right? I could get shot or die any day, just like anyone else. You know what I'm
Just like
saying?
anybody
You
else
know, God
can.
forbid. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know, I was tight with him. I called him pops. Never came out here and let the promoter pick him up and take him to a show. I had the promoter come pick me up, and I went with the promoter to the airport to pick up. I
Yep.
was always with him. You know what I mean? I was with him and Heck Tech. You know what I mean? Everywhere they went when they came out here, and like, you know, I heard from people that he was very surprised. He was like, you know, I thought Last Man would remain loyal, was what I heard he said. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
surprised that Last Man took the stance he did, and I thought he would remain loyal. But you know, I would remain loyal to you on anything real, but like I
Hmm.
don't get down
Certain,
with bro.
yeah,
Yeah,
certain
we don't fuck
things
with that, bro.
are right. Yeah, you know, there has to be a line drawn, and we have to stick true to
Samantha.
principle, you know, and whatever, you know, like I've grown a lot, you know, from being when this first took place. Right, we're talking almost it's 10 years already since this happened,
Right, right.
and you know, I wish the brothers from the Universal Zulu Nation the best. If I had love for you and honor for you then, I still have respect for you now in 2026 based on the jewelry that they gave me, the experiences. I bumped into a lot of elders. I saw Muhammad that rocked the bells. I shook the brother's hand, shook a couple brothers' hands from the Zulu Warriors. Are we best of friends or do we have a relationship? None of us have a relationship no more, but that's not my enemy. I still respect his contributions to Zulu. I can't dispute it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
My brother who out here in LA, Zulu King Chevy Shank, that's Muhammad's brother, his blood brother, right?
Mm,
I ran into Shank. I ran into Shank and uh 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 Jazzy J after the Nam at the Nam after party out here in Cali, like you know what I mean, and we all talked. Everybody's all good, you know. Everybody still got the same love, you know what I'm saying.
right.
And even Jazzy was like, that shit threw me for a loop, bro. Like I grew up with these motherfuckers, and I'm still down with them, you know. I always be down with them. It was a foundation to this hip hop shit with them, but that shit threw me for a loop too, just like it threw all y'all for a loop. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He was like, I couldn't believe that shit. You know, that shit's crazy. You know,
it
so
is. It is
you
crazy.
know.
It is crazy, and all I can say is we still stand with the survivors. But you know, respect to everybody, man. Everybody put in a lot of a lot of work and a lot of time for this. And it's a shame that the outcome was that Zulu is divided into two different groups. You know, the Universal Zulu Nation and the Zulu Union. But again, we're not enemies. I don't spend time thinking about the UZN. I just strive to think about what we can do to resurrect this, to move it forward. You know what I'm saying? To the best of our ability as you know, as an organization. You know what I mean? And I wish them the best, man. You know, uh, they're getting
I
old.
mean, I
We're
was
getting
taught a
old.
lot from Zulu,
You
man.
know.
All the lessons that we had to learn, you know what I mean, all the books. So I learned a lot from Zulu, you know, just like I learned a lot from growth and development, you know what I'm saying? Just like I learned a lot from my Panther elders, you know what I'm saying, and the Black Panther Party Cubs, and everything that I align myself with. I've got a lot of knowledge of self from those things, you know. I mean, you know, I went how down I was with Buddha. That's Al
Hmm.
Jamel, you know what I mean? Like that's one of the firstborn, you know. Like I go
Hmm.
back with a bunch of the gods out here too, and out there, you know, and righteous and all them. Like I learned a lot from the 5%ers, like growing up. I knew about that shit since poor righteous teachers, since I was a kid, you know. I was like,
Right.
what are they talking about? KMD, the Ansars, tragedy, all
Hmm.
that. I I
Hmm.
I did the knowledge to it because I wanted to do the knowledge to it. Like, what are these symbols? Like Nuwapians, you know, like I said, I'm a big daylight head. So like I always studied, you know, and I learned a lot from all these different places. And that's why I was like, you know, we got to take this knowledge and realign ourselves. That's why I said we keeping the fist and the colors, because the fist is what we have. That's all we have is power. We have the
Hmm.
power to to govern ourselves right and exact, right? And you know, there's no unity right now. There's no fun right now. But we can
Right.
hold ourselves with integrity and we can continue to do the work. So
Yes,
that's why I
indeed.
said, let's do this. Peace, love, integrity, work. You know what I mean? Like, but I didn't make this shit. I mean, I might have made it up, whatever, you know, I might have had the thoughts, but it doesn't belong to me. It be just like you know, it belongs to all of us. You know,
Right.
it's like, you know, that it's like them brothers in Philadelphia the other day saying that they got the right to use the Panther logo from Emory Douglas. That doesn't belong to Emory Douglas. Like people might
Mm.
get mad at me saying this, but he drew that. Once he gave that to the party, once that was the party's logo, now it belongs to the Black Panthers. It's no longer
Right.
his. He no longer has individual rights over that drawing. He can't tell someone else they could use it without the permission of all the elder Panthers, and most of them are dead. You know what I'm saying? Or a great majority of them are dead, and you know, and it was said clearly. You know what I mean? That the party had ended. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's like you can't do certain things because they don't belong to you. You can't just get permission from somebody. So it's like for me, once I said peace, love, integrity, work, and the family wanted to roll with that, that belongs to the family. Even if that was my idea, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
I
we
respect
all
it.
have to hold ourselves under those principles, and I got those
Right.
principles from our lessons, from the
Right.
5%, from hip hop, from everything we grew up in, from
Yeah.
Rastafari. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like to hold myself accountable and to have integrity, you know what I'm saying? They say without integrity nothing works. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I can't even remember exactly what the law of integrity is, but the law of integrity, if you Google it, anybody watching this, Google the law of integrity. And it
Mm.
tells you like it's some real shit, you know what I'm saying? And that knowledge was what made me say, this is what we need to stand on. We need to stand on our integrity because these other people, this or whatever, have zero integrity. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so that's
No, it
where
applies.
I
It
was with it.
applies, and I felt strong when I saw it. You know, like to me, it just made more sense. You know, because the Zulus no longer had the unity, right, and there was no more fun, like you said. So like everything was in chaos, no unity. So let's focus on the peace. Let's focus on the love. Let's focus on the integrity and do the work. You know what I'm saying? You hit it in the head, and you know we're
Right,
gonna rock with that forever. You know what I'm saying? Um,
right, right,
I
right,
just want to
right.
say,
And
brother,
we
I
can be united with anybody who wants to stand with what we on. We can unite with them, and we can have fun now. You know what I'm saying? But we always gonna hold ourselves with integrity, and we always gonna do the work, like you said. You know what I'm
the work
saying?
comes first. The
Like
work comes first. You know what I mean? Um,
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
man, I just want to say, brother, you know, you are one of the most solid Zulus since I met you. You know what I'm saying? You've contributed a lot, a lot,
Appreciate
a
it, King.
lot, a lot to the Universal Zulu Nation, to the Zulu Union, to the culture. And man, you know, I never had many white Zulus around me. But when So
Mhm.
seeing how you moved, and I don't look at anyone as like white, black. I just look at it, my Zulus are my Zulus. But I said, when this brother, how you
Right.
moving? I opened the door up and recruited a gang of white boys. A bunch of white dudes came into my chapter after I met you, based on how
Ox
highly
was
I
always
held you.
down. You know what I'm saying?
Ox was down before. Well, no, Ox came after you too. Almost all the white membership. I
Oh,
only got a
really?
few.
Okay.
Only yeah. He's been down since 2006 when I started the chapter. When I started 25. When you
Okay.
remember,
Okay.
I
Okay.
was G's at first. When I
Okay.
first met you, I was G's. You know what I'm saying? I was Gestapo.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but all my white
Okay.
membership comes after I met you. You know what I'm saying? And I see you you made me see things in a different light. Not that I was ever racist, or I just didn't hang with many white dudes because of my neighborhood didn't have many white dudes. But I just want
No,
to
I
say
mean
that
I
I
can
appreciate
appreciate
your
that. You
work.
know, the history.
Yeah, I
I appreciate
appreciate your
that, bro,
work
and
and
I
I
can
respect it
appreciate
greatly.
you coming from that perspective.
You know what I'm
Yeah. Thank
saying?
you, King. I appreciate you
No,
too,
man, I
and I
thank
can
you
respect
for
that greatly
opening my
because
mind.
I'm the same way. Yeah, but I'm the same way. It it's not easy to trust. You know, right, slavery's always existed. Slavery, war, all that, you know what I mean, has always existed. Native Americans fought other tribes. They stole their women, they did all that type of stuff, you know what I mean, when before the white man got here, Slavery existed in Africa and still exists in some place in Africa, you know what I'm saying? Like white people didn't invent this shit, but we live
Hmm.
in the 1900s and the early 2000s, right? We live in a time where European colonialism has conquered this globe and still is running shit. They still fucking America and Israel is still murdering people right now. You know what I'm saying? Like we live in a time where the hip hop and the culture that we grew up in, and I don't even want to get into the like whether it's foundational Black American or Puerto Rican and none of that. I just know the way we grew up, we was taught in the time that we grew up, coming from the era that we live in after American slavery and all these things and European colonialism worldwide. You know what I'm saying? We was taught a lot of 5% culture, and the white man is the devil, and the white man is doing a lot of devilish shit. And those same lessons, if you study Elijah Muhammad, he talks about the black devil. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But like,
Yes, indeed.
we always know, we always know that there's gonna be devils of every color, shape and creed. I know you a Muslim. You know what I mean? There's always gonna be, the jinn whispering in our ear. There's always
Hmm.
gonna be the demons, as well as there's going to be the angels that protect us. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So we know, those of us who deal with spirituality on a higher level, we know these things. So growing up for me, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. You said I see you a white dude, and that opened my eyes to be more open. But to me, like, yeah, I have white family that I grew up with, and I love them. You know what I mean? In Texas, don't get me wrong, but I know my auntie says the N word. I've heard her say it. You know what I mean? Like, I know that there was pictures of all the nieces and nephews and grandchildren on her mirror at her beauty shop. And after my son was born, like there was never a picture of my son, and now all the pictures are down.
Mm.
Why? Is it because my
Right.
son is black? Every time when I
Hmm.
bring my son around her, she treats him like she loves him and everything. But who knows what
Yeah.
she says behind our backs? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I
Right.
can't
Right.
rock with that shit, bro.
I
And
feel
I
you.
don't see myself as like, yes, of course, I have European ancestry, as well as other things. But you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, my skin is white, but at the end of the day, I'm not white, bro. I'm hip
Hmm.
hop. I grew up
Definitely.
hip hop. If
Well
anything,
said.
I don't do anything like when you talk about our culture, like I don't do anything inherently European. My family doesn't make shepherd's pie or fucking, you get what I'm saying?
No,
Everything
I
I do,
totally get
from when
it.
I
I
get up in the
totally get it.
morning to the way I get dressed to the way I talk, the way I walk, everything I do is hip hop. Hip hop is
Yep.
my culture. And
Right.
that's how I see it. Like, and you ain't gotta be, I know a lot of Asians who are hip hop.
Oh
I
yeah.
know a lot
No,
of
we
Filipinos
know.
who are
We
revolutionary
know.
hip hop.
We
You
know,
know what I'm
brother.
saying? Like,
Where the skills is
so
what
so
matters
so
most. The skills and your
Mexicans, all type of shit.
contribution. The skills and the contributions
Yeah,
matter the
yeah.
most in
So
hip hop culture. We never, that's something in hip hop, man, right? When you opened up your black book and you drawing and you tagging up the black book, you wasn't looking to see who was white, who was black, who was Puerto Rican, who was Mexican. You just looking at the hand styles and just appreciating the art. You know what I'm saying? When we in the cipher
Right. Exactly.
freestyling, I'm just listening for your wordplay. I'm just listening for your skills, what you saying. I'm judging you off that. I'm not saying he's a white boy, but he's nasty
You
for a white
starting to
boy.
go in and out again. Do we want to
Oh, no, no, we're
drop
gonna
the
end
report
this.
again?
We're gonna end this one.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Yeah.
listen, man, I just wanted to salute you, brother. Big respect, man. Big respect.
Salute you
Thank you
too,
for all
bro.
you do, man,
Always.
for real. We'll
You know what
get
I
you
mean?
back on here soon. Don't hang up yet. Peace.
All right.
Peace and
Cool. Cool.
love.
I appreciate